it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature. Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. The chaos must reign.
Am I ready to hatch it down? I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised to believe in retribution.
All right. So my new chat stand allows me to do this. Awesome. So that was the latest Daredevil trailer. So for those who are worried that because it's Disney that it wouldn't be as violent as Netflix, looks like it's going to be plenty violent. So at some point, I assume the beginning of the show, Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil. And actually, you see very little Daredevil, so I assume that at some point, he becomes Daredevil again. I mean, he never really stopped, technically, just because he's not wearing the suit, but it sounds like he's, at least at the beginning, focusing on being a lawyer. And for those who aren't aware, they totally redid the series. That's why it's taken forever for it to come out. They redid the series because initially they were going to make it more like She-Hulk, in that it was mostly about Jen Walters as a lawyer. So even though Daredevil would be in the name, he wouldn't be doing Daredevil stuff. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons, well, one of the legitimate reasons why She-Hulk didn't do so well. There were a lot of other reasons that, like, apparently people didn't realize that She-Hulk was a jokey character. And then, of course, there were the toxic fandom who didn't like that She-Hulk was making fun of them. But anyway, so Daredevil initially started out as a similar series. And Kevin Feige took one look and said, oh, hell no, we're redoing this. We're making this more like the Netflix series. If for no other reason, people would expect that. But he also understood that that isn't Daredevil. That's Matt Murdock, but not Daredevil. So this trailer shows us that he stopped being a vigilante at some point. And he said a line was crossed. And considering just how brutal Daredevil is, it makes you wonder what line got crossed that made him stop. Apparently his law firm is doing well, so it's, I guess if they do pro bono work, it's because they can afford to, not because it's a barter system, because their clients just can't pay. Karen Page is obviously a part of this, just like how at the end of the Netflix series, Foggy put up a piece of paper with all of their names, implying that he wanted to start a law firm for all three of them. Of course, that makes you question, Karen Page is not a lawyer, so how is she a partner? But okay. So we see a new masked vigilante, which, thank you, Emergency Awesome, is White Tiger, who's a fairly newish, I guess, vigilante. I don't think they showed who the bad guy is of the series. I mean, obviously, Kingpin is ultimately the bad guy, but they're meeting for a reason. And of course, Daredevil, Matt Murdock doesn't believe Kingpin that he just, isn't trying to game the system, as he said, that he actually wants to do good for the city. And I believe that Kingpin actually wants to do good for the city. It's just that his idea of doing good for the city isn't actually good. But I truly believe that he thinks that he's doing the best for the city. I truly believe that. It's just not reality, but that's different. So we see shots, and of course Frank Castle is back. And for some reason, they show them fighting bad guys. Both Matt Murdock and Frank Castle together fighting bad guys. But we also see him attacking Matt Murdock. Now, we know that from the original Netflix show that he knows who Daredevil is. I'm pretty sure he's seen that Daredevil is Matt Murdock. I don't think that that's news to him, but I could be remembering wrong. So it's very curious what's happening in this show that leads him to attack Matt. I mean, maybe he's frustrated that Matt stopped being Daredevil? Or maybe I'm remembering wrong and he doesn't know that Matt Murdock is Daredevil and he thinks he's just attacking a lawyer for some reason. I don't know if it's because of a certain case he's working on or what the deal is. Or Kingpin or somebody else has him convinced that Matt Murdock is doing something that he isn't. So yeah, and like I said, lots of brutality, which you would expect from Daredevil. Let's see, what else is there? New faces that I didn't recognize. So like I said, if they showed the bad guy, they showed some guy with what looked like, it's not exactly red, it's more fuchsia around his eyes. So I don't know if he's supposed to be a bad guy. Anyone who seemingly wears a mask could potentially be a bad guy, because unless it's an obvious vigilante like Daredevil, White Tiger, it's entirely possible that this guy's the bad guy. I do not know. I'm not familiar with that character, but I assume that Kingpin, who seems to like hanging out with Matt, so I'm like, okay, frenemies, maybe? Um, they're meeting for a reason because, let's face it, the way Netflix ended their series, they're not exactly best friends. They actually beat the snot out of each other, and Kingpin and Vanessa ended up getting arrested, but of course he had Bullseye's help for that, but still. So, what exactly is happening in. He's obviously mayor at this point, so I don't know if that's how this is going to start off. Because for those who watched Echo, know that that actually was when he decided that he was going to run for mayor, because he saw the the political discussion on TV about the mayor position being open. So it's entirely possible that this is a pretty significant time jump, or at least, maybe a year, 6 months. I don't know how long he was campaigning. And that any campaigning we see would be in flashbacks, that when the show starts, he's already mayor. I mean, I guess it's possible that it starts with him becoming mayor. That's a possibility too. But there is a reason he's meeting with Matt, because just like on the Netflix show, he knows who Matt Murdock is. He knows that he's Daredevil. So there's got to be a reason why he wants to meet with Matt. And he asked him specifically, why did you stop being a vigilante? And talking about, coming to terms with your violent side. So maybe there's something going on in the city that he thinks he needs Daredevil for, and since Daredevil is not being Daredevil, it's just working as Matt Murdock, with the occasional beating the crap out of criminals just as Matt Murdock, and he just has to use the line of that he's a really good lawyer. I hope that he doesn't use that line too much. So, so something must be going on that's pretty messed up, that Kingpin is actually turning to Matt Murdock for help. Because Kingpin has so many resources and so many thugs at his disposal that I would think that just about any situation he could handle, unless he's trying to set Matt up for something. So that's a possibility too, that he's setting Matt up so he could point at Daredevil and show that, there's something wrong with Matt working the streets. It could be that there really is something going on that he can't handle, because he's the mayor and he has to at least give the appearance of not being a kingpin, even though he is. So that's a possibility too. So I'm really curious to see what is the motivation for this, and who are Frank and Matt beating the ever-loving crap out of. So, and how does White Tiger fit into all of this? And who that guy with the what looks like fuchsia around his eyes? Who is he and what is his deal? Let's see, what else did I want to mention about this trailer? I think I've covered everything I wanted to. We didn't see much of Foggy or Karen, so we really don't know what's going on with them. I think Foggy, when the Netflix series ended, was engaged. Karen, I don't think that they really said. Last we saw, she was a journalist until Foggy decided that that there was going to be a law firm with all of their names on it. They've obviously gotten to the point where they're doing well. So I don't know if Karen is just working at the firm or if she's doing other stuff. Who knows? I believe that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.